Hi there, and welcome back to day 16 of the Inktober Tangle Challenge. I'm Martha, a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we'll be learning the Tripoli tangle. We will start with a simple version, and then we will try a second one with just a little bit more flair. The Tripoli tangle is a classic tangle by Zentangle Inc. It's truly one of my favorites. With that being said, it can be challenging, especially if you are new to tangling, but I have a little tip that helps me line up everything, and I hope that it helps you create a successful drawing as well. So I've started with a triangle, and I'm going to draw two more triangles next to it, and you'll notice how one side lines up. This is kind of my little trick. I try to just look at three triangles at a time. So I covered up one and I line up the two triangles. So there's one, and I'm going to line up the one across from it with a straight line. And then the last one's always the easiest. You just fill in what's left. Once you have 6 of these triangles in kind of like a little flower pod design, that's what I think of it as, you're going to start to draw off of it with more triangles. So always making the triangle lines parallel between the two different triangles. But I'm going to try to show you my trick again. I'm going to try to cover up some of the triangles and just look at 3 at a time. So there's 3. And then here's another one. So I'm lining up these 3. And then I have one space left, and so I just fill it in. And you keep branching off and adding and adding and adding. So I'm just going to choose a random triangle here. And here are 3. It's not lined up perfectly, but that's okay. So I'm going to move it over to there and do those 3. There we go. And draw across, I'm lining it up, those 3, and then I have 1 left. Again, I'm drawing a triangle, and some of these are already going to have, look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so I just have a 5th and then a 6th. So the more of these that you're drawing, the less you kind of have to think about creating this little pod shape. And I still, to this day, even when I was doing some practice run-throughs of this drawing, I had some wonky triangles, and it just is what it is, and it's okay. And, I've learned to kind of let go of it a little bit. And of course, when we add the other elements to the tangle and then the shading, you, in my experience, don't notice those wonky triangles as much. And for this simple version of the Tripoli tangle, just fill in what you want. I mean, you can just keep going and going and going and going. Um, I would say use this kind of basic version of the tangle. It's just like your practice until you kind of get in your groove of drawing the 6 uniform, as close to uniform triangles as you can, all in a little pod. So I'm just leaving it unfinished like this. I like that kind of organic look about it. And I'm going to begin to fill in each triangle. And this is a very basic way to fill in. There are a lot of ways you can. There are a lot of ideas. There are tons of variations of this tangle online. But I'm going to stick with the very basic of um, design or pattern of drawing 3 curves, one on each side of the triangle. And you'll see that it leaves just a little triangles in the middle. Now that the curves are done, fill in that middle section. It's a little triangular shape, curved triangle. Fill in that middle section with an orb. And our final step with the pen is to fill in the negative space around the orbs. So just those little crevices, fill those in with a solid ink. As I'm watching this video to do the voiceover, I of course see a triangle that I did not draw an orb in. That is something that happens in almost every tangle that I create. Every tangle I draw, I'm always missing some little part, and I realize it at some point, but I see it very clearly now that I am being an observer as opposed to being in the thick of it and being the artist who's drawing. For shading, I am finding the center of the six triangles in that little pod, and I am just coloring in an orb. So finding six, finding six, finding six. They're all connected. That's what's so cool about this tangle, is how everything is separate but connected. And even in these groups of triangles, if there's not a complete six, I'm still coming in like that one, and I'm drawing part of the pod. And now I'm just going to blend that in with the tortillon, and it's dramatic what happens here, how just shading can really soften up those original geometric triangles. And with those curves and the orbs and the graphite orbs, it just starts to soften. And gosh, it is such a gorgeous, 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 gorgeous tangle, in my opinion. All right, so Inktober Tangles 2025, labeling it on the back. This is the Tripoli tangle again, a classic Zentangle tangle. And also, I can't believe that we are on day 16. So we are halfway through Inktober. So I'm actually not going to change this tangle very much or do some huge variation. It is, to me, I've said it, I know already, but it is such a lovely tangle as it is. But what I have done is I have moved on to a larger tile. So this is the just regular Zentangle tile, 3.5 inches. And I'm using an 05 pen, so it's a little bit broader than the 01. And I'm drawing the triangles a little bit larger. If I draw them really small, it'll just take a really long time to fill this tile up. So I'm drawing bigger on a bigger piece of paper, and what I'm going to do is draw edge to edge. This entire tile is going to be covered with the triangles. I always find that the beginning of Tripoli is the easiest part because you can see the little pods of 6 triangles a lot more clearly. And then you get to this point where you, or at least I can't tell which is what and what is which. And so I just do my best to fill in the triangles in these little groupings of 6. Again, I'm looking for my little groups of 3s, so I'm just looking at half of the pods, just 3 at a time. For some reason, that grouping of 3 is easier for my brain to focus on and line up than trying to line up and think about all 6 of them at the same time. So I hope that little tip is helpful to you as well if you find this tangle to be challenging. So take your time, enjoy this moment of zen, of quiet, of peace, of repetitive mark making. to fill up this entire tile with all of these triangles. And I will see you when you are ready to move on to the next step. All right, so I'm close to the end and I'm just doing my best to kind of fill in, getting wonky like that triangle right there is definitely wonky, but hey, it's all right. It is what it is. I'm just trying to fill in whatever space is left that I see here at the edge and try to fit in 6 triangles for each little pod. All right, and there we go. Next, I'm filling in the inside of each triangle with 3 curves. So 1 curve on each of the 3 triangle sides. I'm really sticking to a very traditional variation of this tangle. I am not stepping far out of the box at all this time. And some of the other tangles I've done for Inktober have really pushed those boundaries and explored some variations. But this, I'm really sticking to kind of the original. I love it that much. And goodness, look how lovely that looks. Just with those curves inside of triangles. How much it can change the look of such a simple geometric shape as a triangle. So cool. I've gotten my gold jelly roll pen and I'm going to use it to fill in the orbs at the center of these triangles. So this is really kind of my only step outside the box, if you will, for this tangle. Just adding a little hint of shimmer with this gold pen. Next, I'm coming in with my black pen and filling in the negative space around the orbs. So those little crevices, those 3 little crevices around the gold orb are going to get filled in with solid black ink. So I'm ready to start to add some shading, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently than the first version of the tangle that I did on the bijou tile. Instead of filling it completely in, I'm just going to create like a ring that connects the 6 points of those triangles. And don't forget about these little spaces on the edge. You might need a little half circle or half of a ring there. Okay, so grabbing the tortillon and I'm going to start to blend it out, leaving that space in the center. So not filling it completely in so that it's all gray, just this ring. And there we go, coming to the end of the shading. It looks so good. I mean, I seriously get so excited every time I draw this tangle. It's just absolutely beautiful to me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill out the information on the back. Inktober Tangles 2025, Tripoli Tangle. Again, an absolute classic. I would love to know in the comments if any of you all love this tangle as much as I do. Now, if it is your first time drawing this tangle, I will 100% understand if you say, oh, heck no, Martha. This is too difficult because it is challenging. It is a challenging tangle trying to get those triangles all in a little pod. So I understand. But yeah, just curious. Anybody else love this tangle as much as I do? I kept it pretty simple. Didn't do it a variation really at all. Just with that gold. Just wanted to, I guess, stay true to the classic version. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me for day 16. I cannot believe we are halfway through, but I look forward to seeing you for day 17 tomorrow. All right, have a good one.